You could have heard this episode 48 hours early on our Patreon, patreon.com/indieheadspodcast. By joining us for as low as $1 a month, you'll receive episodes early, gain access to our Discord server, and get yourself an Indieheads podcast sticker. Mail-in episodes go up on our Patreon 40 hours before it hits our public podcast feeds. But if you're hearing this via our Patreon feed, we thank you so much for your support. We especially want to thank our Real Ones Patreon supporters, including Becca Etienne, Georgia Mikowski, History of Violet, Ataxin, Delaney Mothman, Josiah Duncan, Marcy Anime, Matt Cameron, Alex Krishmanoff, Cal50, Chance Holdup, Charles, Chris Wade, Commander in Beef, Gavin Fornity Freak, Grant, Griff, I Want a Girl with a Short Skirt and a Long Penis, Ian, Insomni Black, Jake Wald, Jamie Aylward, Jay, Jenna LaFleur, Keep Autism Weird, Maze Farms, Mark Berry, Matthew Taylor, Max Kabazinski, Nicole Rifkin, Rena Kay, Robert Mariano, Sarah Moore, Tay, Tim Discount Prices, and Zach. And if you want to be amongst these names, consider upgrading to our Real One tier on Patreon, where you'll receive a bonus episode every month on top of other perks. And before we move into the episode, I just want to thank the rest of our Patreon supporters like Jason Daphnis, Kevin Cookman, AJ Moser, Alec Felder, Alexis Davin, Ali Eleanor, Barely March, Cheddaz, Cody Gagan, Derek Pemberton, Drew Wharton, Eleanor Grams, Eraser Red Baby, Eric Chow, Finitrice, Gavlin, Garros420, Holiday Kirk, Jack Tiggleman, Jacqueline Kadiga, Jane Amjadi, James Boss, Jeremy Ball, Josh, Lily, Matthew Herring, Matthew McPherson, Midwest Maxwell, Molly O'Brien, Nate O, Rainey Donaldson, Sarah L, Vingle LaFleur, Will Griffin, and Wilford Threll. Anyways, though, enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, it is Maddie. In case you missed the outro of the last episode, we initially were planning on recording our Album of the Year cast as one episode, but turns out we had a lot to say about the records on our list, so it went to a nearly 3.5 hour recording, hence splitting it up into two parts. So here is part 2 as we go through number 5 to number 1 on our Album of the Year list. So take it away, Maddie, from over a week ago. Anyways, let's get back to our top 10 albums of the year. Sitting at number 5 is Yahweh Nailgun with 45 Pounds, and this is my personal album of the year. So
same here.
I'm gonna kick it off though. I'm the host. I want to kick this one off. This album is fucking great, and when this album came out, I would not have expected it to be my album of the year because I was not quite rocking with this album on release initially. Yahweh Nailgun is a band that I've kind of struggled with since I discovered them about 2 years ago because our friend of the pod, Tatiana, who is editor-in-chief of Antics Magazine, she kept posting about this band on Instagram, and I was like, they sound nuts. Like, what's going on here? And then they're putting out singles, and I believe Castrata Raw Fullback was like the first single. It came out like almost 2 years, like over 2 years ago now. And I listened and I was like, I can't make heads or tails. Like instrumentally, this is awesome, but vocally, I just can't fucking do it with this voice. And then as more singles and more things, were coming out about this band and about this record, that was the thing I kept struggling with. And when this album came out, I was just like, man, like I like it, but I just, the vocals, I'm having, it's the thing that's really holding me back. And it wasn't until I saw them live about a month after this album came out where immediately I was like, oh yeah, okay. I understand why he sounds like that, because when you look at the way that their singer Zach Warzone just contorts his body on stage as it seems like he's trying to turn himself into a pretzel live on stage. I remember, I'm not sure who, someone on Indieheads on the subreddit was like, yeah, I remember like seeing them live once, and the singer kept trying to put his own leg over his head, and it's like, yep, that sounds like something he would do. And immediately seeing them live, seeing the way that being able to like really see the way that he performs and just the way he gives into these like primal instincts, the album just immediately clicked with me. I was like, okay, I get it now. The vocals are no longer a detriment. They're like the main hook of why I kept coming back to this record. This bizarre gremlin voiced man singing these horrible, awful tunes that feel like like awful psychic premonitions that make no sense whatsoever now, but fucking 80 years from now, oh my god, the messages are going to be so clear. Like I see past the numbers. I see what he was trying to tell us here.
I know the pieces fit.
Yeah.
I know the pieces fit. um
I oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Rez.
I just want to shout out this one. I'm always for albums with cool drums, and this one in particular, I just love the rototoms that they've got going on. It's really tight
Oh,
choice to
there are rototoms on this album? I hadn't noticed.
I really appreciate the choice. Hashtag cool drums. That's my cause, and I'm standing behind it.
Yeah, like in so many genres of music, like if you played the drums like Sam Pickard plays the drums, it would be overplaying by like 10,000%. But this is the kind of music that like almost demands drums this intense and complex, you know?
Yeah.
Also, like, speaking of the drums, side note, I talked to Sam after I saw the band live this year, and I asked him how he got the ride cymbal sound on Sickle Walk, and he said that it wasn't even a cymbal on the record. He was literally just banging a sheet of metal, which is honestly iconic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that lines up. That makes a lot of sense. But I sort of was hinting at this comparison earlier, the comparison to Death Grips with Yahweh Nailgun, and like it is, while maybe Sam is not like quite operating on Zach Hill's level, which is just like the speed of Zach Hill will never, almost like you can only really get that in like metal drummers in terms of the speed, but obviously Zach Spellstein on top of speed is also just like really memorable, like little riffs and hooks and little fills and stuff. But Sam is also a very insane drummer, just like how much he's able to fit in, and just the pure sound of it. And I'll text it. I'm going to let you take it very soon. But one more point I want to mention is that I think the most shocking element of the band is just how minimalistic they are. Like when you do hear this, it is so like overstimulating and overwhelming. But like once you sort of get used to, the playing field that you're operating on with this record, you do realize like there's not a lot of stuff in the mix here. I mean, it's really only like just the drums and the guitar and like some sound manipulation, and then Zach's vocals. Like it's a very, like in terms of the band layout, it's really, really simple. There's not too much going on here. There's not much more than what you hear on the record. There's just a lot of, just the sound of manipulation to make it sound just way huger than what it would maybe be. Obviously just comes down like, hey, everyone here is just a great player. Like another album where it's like, what the fuck, that's a guitar? Like seeing them live also.
Oh my god, yeah, like
yeah.
the guitars on Animal Death Already Breathing. Like on the record, I could have sworn that those were just like sampled steel drums or something. No. But like when I saw them live and I was like, what the fuck? He is making that sound with a guitar? It just blew my mind.
I just gotta say, you mentioned guitars that sound like steel drums. Palm forever vindicated, way ahead of their fucking time, making their guitars sound like steel drums. This is like that taken to its logical conclusion of like let's really just like we can make them sound like steel drums, but like let's just like put the microphone way up in the fucking mix. Let's just really get to not quite clipping level, but like real right up on the edge here. But yeah, just so many like just crazy sounds. Like again, that you would think like, oh, it's probably like the electronics guy is doing all this stuff. It's like no, a lot of like the crazy stuff on this record, sound wise, at least the stuff the really odd parts, like the more like jagged edges, are coming from the guitar. It is the way that I'm trying to remember. I want to say his name. I believe his last name is Rosenstock.
Sagiv Rosenstock is his name.
Thank you. The stuff he's doing on guitar is really insane, and it makes sense that I think he was originally their producer, as he produced their first or second EP, and then joined on as a band member for their second EP, the No Midwife and I Wing Flap, I think is the name of that EP, where he officially joins on as a member. But Taxon, I want to kick it off to you because you're also a very big fan of this record.
Yes, God, yeah, The Billy Woods album was my number one of the year, but like this is the album that I've listened to the most, like by a wide margin. out of anything this year. I think
sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
I listened to this album so much that in my Apple Music replay at the end of the year, like the list of my top 15 songs was composed of the entire track list of this album plus 5 other songs sprinkled in there.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's the same for me. It's like it being just like, it's just like it does so much with like the little time that it has. It's just a cool 21 minutes, and like, it does so much with that time, to, I guess, kind of steal a bit from, the like just like about Psychopomp. I always think about the Psychopomp, review from Indieheads back in the day with the fucking button. I just like, that's how I feel about this album. That's this album for me is, it's just so endlessly re-listenable. There's just so many really cool fucking moments on this. God, yeah. Jenna was saying like, Animal Death Already Breathing. That's like easily, one of my favorite songs of the year. It's just so, it's so weird, but it's so danceable too. Like it's just, and I love, God, I would love to get to see them live, hopefully in the very near future. But I saw they did like their I think it's like they did like the KEXP live situation, and that's so that like I love the way they did Animal Death Already Breathing in that, and like in the live clips that I've seen shared where they kind of just pull the tempo down just a little bit, and it just, I don't know, like it just feels like I feel like I could like bite through drywall listening to it. It's just just the energy in it just feels so, it's just so palpable. God. But and then I think, God, is that the one? Oh no, Ultra Shade Beat My Blood Dog Down is right after that, but which is also fucking nuts. But Iron Feet, God, I love just, the lead into Iron Feet was just like, the they kind of have like that little kind of, just kind of the little bit of like the sticks just kind of like clacking on. I guess I assume what's probably like, the rim of like the snare or whatever before fully going in and on just like the huge fucking tom, like bomb. And then it's just, my God, it's insane how like powerful it is. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I'm really, really, really pleased to see this album getting like it's getting a lot of talk from like a lot of places, like, like it got best new music in Pitchfork, which is awesome, because like I think, unlike, I mean, granted, I haven't been on them like, like forever, I guess. Like I think Maddie, you've known about them long, but I gotta say, I immediately fucking clicked with like their EPs. I love No Midwife and I Wing Flap. Too Bright to See is just God, that's such an awesome song. Like I think that's the first song in theirs that I heard, and I was like, holy shit, because I think to kind of, if you weren't gonna make the comparison, Maddie, I was going to Death Grips. I mean, it reminds me very much of like you said, it's, I think Zach Hill, like at his peak, is still really untouched, but it just kind of reminded me, what I really missed about, like, because like I think I've kind of bounced off of like, his solo stuff and like the side projects, Undo K from Hot, whatever. Like I mean, it's interesting. But
the V drum kit
really
was the worst. Like as someone whose favorite Death Grips album is Redacted on the Moon, the V drum kit is the worst thing that ever happened to Zach Hill. Giving him that fucking thing was the worst thing that ever happened to him. It's just like, don't give him the limitations of a doll or of like just a normal drum set. Give him that V drum kit. It created the best album, but also like every bad Zach Hill thing after that record is almost entirely at the fault of the V drum kit, but that's a whole other
100%.
story.
They like blew all the fantastic ideas that they had with that on that album, because that's again, yeah, that's my favorite Death Grips album by a wide margin too. I mean, I love all their stuff, but goddamn that album. But no, I mean, it's like I heard, Too Bright to See for the first time. I was like, oh man, it just kind of reminded me of like that, feeling when I first, started kind of like getting into Death Grips, of just like what the fuck am I hearing, and why it's just so propulsive, God, yeah, and just love an album with crazy ass drums and guitars that sound like modular synths.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Another song I haven't heard mentioned yet, Pain Fountain. That's my favorite song on this album.
Great.
Nice. Yes. I love like at the end of that track, the sort of like electronic jackhammer bursts that come pummeling in.
Oh, it's like a fucking machine gun. It's like it feels reminiscent of that one Portishead song. Like, all right, like let's just
gun.
Let's just like have this repeat and feel like you're being shot in the head 1,000 times. Like, all right, sick. But also it's the song that I think makes some of the themes and some of the lyrics of the album line up a little more about being in this very abstract sense, this sort of like sexual frustration that's heard all throughout the album. I mean, the fact that
is that the one where he says cuck?
He's like, I'm a cuck full of hate, and it's like, well, there you go. That's the thesis of the album. Everything about this album makes sense once you realize, like, oh wait, is that what he said? Oh yeah, that is what he said. Okay, and you go, okay, now a lot of lyrically, the record is a little easier to parse. Not entirely. It's still like very abstract and very
like it took like a month or two after the album came out before somebody finally like scanned the lyric sheet from the physical version and put the lyrics online.
Yeah,
I was trying to make out what he was saying for all that time, and I got nowhere close.
Yeah, no.
What you mean? You can't understand the guy going.
I love that got cut by the
zoom
noise filter, the noise gate filter.
Yeah.
I think that's the best summation of Zach's deal.
This band. Oh God. But yeah, love this band. Go see them live if you get the chance. It sucks that like a bunch of those dry cleaning dates got canceled, because I know a number of people were like, yeah, I'm mainly seeing dry cleaning just to see Yahweh Nailgun open. But they're still on a couple dates later in the summer. But yeah, this is, I mean, I'm not sure if they're my favorite live band now, but like they're pretty easily in the top 5. Like, hey, if they're coming to your town or near it, drop everything, go see them, because you're not going to regret it whatsoever. And obviously, the KXP set's also really, really incredible. I mean, I love the way this album sounds, but getting to hear those songs with a slightly clearer mix is really interesting and does add like an extra appreciation that like even beyond, sort of the whatever manipulation the band's able to do, the songs do really stand out on their own as like, hey, this is an incredible record of really great songs from a band whose upside is really fucking huge. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Love this record. I'm a cuck full of hate.
Clip that.
Clip that. Clip that.
Chat, clip that. Yeah.
Clip that.
Real quick, I hadn't really listened to this record before I listened before this whole thing. I liked it. It's not like I was like, damn, this is cool. It reminded me a lot of the first Health record, which I don't know if everybody's super into that, but the first Health record, like that extremely noisy, propulsive drumming. Whereas like I think Health dips a lot more into what was not like passe at the time in terms of shoegaze. Some of those kind of notes. I don't know. I love that first Health record a lot. This record reminded me of it, which is a good thing. Yeah, what was the other thing
that's
that I was
a good
thinking?
shout.
Like like you even said, there's like the kind of incelish vibe of sorts on this record, whereas the Health record is clearly people who fuck. And so that's, that's neither here nor there. That's just like where my mind was. But yeah, no, it's a cool record. I think like I'm skeptical of a lot of like bigger new noise acts slash like industrial acts, as we'll talk about with some of the other, or one of the other records on this list. But like, I think this is one of them where I was skeptical, and I was like a little more like not shocked that this was good by any means, but because of like the people who talked about it. But I was like, okay, this is actually like, they're cooking here. They got something going on here. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do next.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, or Jenna, are we ready for the stats?
Yeah, I don't know. Like my final thoughts. I mean, like I still have some notes that I didn't get to talk about, but like, you know, the one thing that just always strikes me whenever I listen to this album is just like, against all odds, how fun of a listen it is. You know, like it's so, at least for me, it just feels like, I don't know, it's like so hyper and bouncy. It feels like you're like hurtling around a pinball machine at times. But yeah, it's just a great album. What more can I say?
Yeah. In that case, what's the stats?
Yeah, so the stats. This was on 5 people's ballots. I think Maddie and I were the 2 people that put it at number 1. One more person put it in their top 5, and 2 more people put it further down their list.
There we go. All right. In that case, let's move into number 4 on our list. It is James K with Friend. Taxon, take it away.
Oh. All right. Yeah, I'm really pleased to get to be talking about this album. This is like one that I wish I had heard this like earlier in the year, like when it first came out. I just kind of like listened to it in the past couple of months, but God, this is like, I feel like this is gonna be like that. I always have one album that like ends up being kind of like my album of the year, you know, into the next year, sort of. You know, like, you know, like the year that Near My God came out, I wasn't immediately on the, like, I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is really good. And then, like, you know, and I listened to it so much in 2019. And then I mean, I usually do that with at least like one album, you know, every year. So I think this is gonna be that for me. It's just, this is exactly the kind of shit that like I am just gonna be throwing on for like just a casual spin, like anytime. It's just this fantastic, you know, genre omnivorous electronic album, but like in a way that it feels incredibly natural. You know, I think, we've talked about like a lot of albums so far, you know, on, you know, this list that are like really, you know, kind of unconventional, like the Aya album and, you know, Yahweh Nail Gun and stuff. Like I think, you know, it just feels like, you know, totally they feel just like really totally alien, you know. But I feel like this, like, it's got it's got like such a wide range of influences, but it feels just so natural. Like, you know, it's kind of got like, you know, it's got like dream pop, shoegaze kind of vibes, like this really breezy, you know, guitar work all over it. That's, you know, and which is something that often I kind of unfortunately bristle with. I just personal taste shit. I've, you know, kind of struggled with a lot of the, you know, crop of new shoegaze stuff. Just, you know, no matter how much I, you know, admire that. Like, I saw Cold God live. Great. I mean, they're a very great band, and I liked their album a lot. But, you know, and then Tagabo's really good too. But like, they just don't really stick with me. But like, this, you know, kind of incorporates those like sound. I do tend to stick to more. I do lean to more the dream pop side of that shit, and it's, you know, it's just really breezy and dreamy. But then, like, you know, you get, you know, this like really kind of slinky Portishead like trip hop stuff, you know, that's just you know, just effortlessly cool. And then you get like the really like clicky ambient sort of moody, IDM, I guess, for lack of a better word. Kind of like, it's not entirely unlike, early Telephone Tel Aviv, which is 100% my fucking shit. I'm a big fan of, I love Josh Eustace's music. And like early Apparat too. I was like, that was kind of like, I was big into them. I was big into his stuff back in the day, and Mode Rat and stuff like it's just that, like, that very, just that really kind of tactile, moody ambient techno kind of shit that just, like, it just really scratches the itch for me. I just absolutely love it. And I think additionally, all of these, like, not only are, like, all these influences, like, just so effortlessly combined, it feels like very much like, because I mean, there's definitely, like, it's definitely an album, like, she definitely, like, wears her influences on her sleeve in this, but and so I feel like, for something that is, like, has, like, all these touch points of, like, comparison, something like this could feel dated, but it really doesn't. It's just, it feels so incredibly like, this is, like, the right time for this. It's like, this sounds like an album that would come out today, but it would also slot in really comfortably, like, I don't know, having come out, like, I don't know, 10 years ago or something.
30 years ago, even.
30, yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's, like, bits in this that sound like I'd written down that, like, there's some, like her vocals are very, like, new age, feels like almost like that Pure Moods compilation from, like, back in the day, got that's which is one of my favorite fucking albums ever. So, like, it's just, there's, like, all these touch points that feel like, but it still just feels really, really fresh, and it's just really effortless to, just throw on and listen to and chill, have a good fucking time. And they're like incredibly, like just immaculately produced pop songs. Like, Blink Moth is one of my favorite albums, or rather favorite songs of the year. I think I put that on my ballot. It's just, I love the little kind of vocal stabs that kind of come in and punctuate throughout. It's just like this, really simple, propulsive drum break that just kind of effortlessly carries this song along. And it's just, kind of reminds me of, I mean, maybe this is a little off base, but, like, God, I like one of my favorite, like, tracks of, I love Silver by Caribou. It's like one of the album cuts off of Our Love. Just like that kind of, it just kind of, like, burbles along with just, like, this really just float, like, this kind of floaty energy to it. And, like, the vocals that slide in and out, throughout the chorus are just, I adore that song. And then there's, like, I love the G-Funk kind of lead that, she has on Doom Bikini. That's, like, right after that. It's just so, it's awesome.
I think this ends up being, like, my number 2 of the year, I want to say. And it's one of those things that, like, I don't know, like you said, there are so many touch points across different genres. And this is a record that experiments with all of these things. Honestly, I feel it's almost like there are points where the James K record feels more like a well-constructed playlist than an album per se, where
Drake
there are
vindicated.
Listen, one, no, but two,
in this one specific scenario,
Drake vindicated on the playlist thing because his playlist / like mixtape records are superior to his albums, and I will ride to the grave with that one. But this is a similar record where, like, there are Cocteau Twins songs that are on this record. There are, like, these chilled out house percussion loops through tracks that do not appear on other tracks. There are, like, trip hop moments. I think Embalmed was the one that I have as like a trip hop song almost. You have On God, which is like almost your standard boilerplate indie track, but like I mean that in a good way. It's like this sunburned, like completely blissed out track. I love this record to death. I think that this is like, in terms of the music itself, like, yes, I very much vibe with the music that is on the James K record. I think Friend is like just a future classic, but I also think it's a future classic because it's a record that has like this very defined artistic expression of where it wants to go, where it chooses to go, and how it like brings the listener through it. Like, I think this record is a little long for what you get. I think it's like almost like an hour 10 or something. Like, I get it. That's kind of a monumental listen in this day and age, especially when like the last record we talked about was 20 minutes long. But I think that this is the kind of record that encourages you to like throw it in the headphones, walk around, listen to it, get your steps in, go touch grass for Christ's sakes, move around with it and like kind of follow this weird playlist to its end. It's a great record. I can't, again, another record that's like, can't say enough really good things about this record, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Hypersoft Love Jinx Junk Dream, that gets my award for song title of the year. Close runner up being Callous Cowboys' Douchebag Safari.
Yeah. I think what was the I'm the pipe I hit myself with or whatever.
That's a great one too.
Is like that, and also like my petards or the hoister or whatever it is. Like two tracks on the Aya record with song titles of the year. But I don't know, man. Like Friend is just one of those records that I feel like if you're not with it now, like give it some time to sink in, and I think you'll come around to it being like better than you thought it was.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this album? I don't, but I did re-listen today, and it's still kind of bounced off me, even though like it really should be a record that I'm fully into. I don't know why it's still quite bounced off me. I do think part of that is like I really do just have to like lock. Honestly, part of like, man, I should just pop a gummy, throw this on, and just like do nothing.
Listen,
yeah, just listen.
I might endorse that one. Like I might say like, yeah, man, that might actually really help. Go get lost in the woods with and like take a gummy, go get lost in the woods and walk around with that in the headphones.
Yeah.
It's a good one, man.
Yeah. I will quickly offer a potential segue for a voice note because I know Jacqueline is a very big fan of this record. And if she didn't send one or no one sent one, then fuck me. I look fucking stupid. Fuck me.
Wow.
JK. But unless
JK indeed. James K even.
James K.
Oh, there you go. But if there's no thoughts, Jenna, any stats about the record?
I don't know. I mean, my thoughts on this album, I kind of feel a little the same as Maddie here, where like I get what it's going for. Maybe it's a little too ethereal for me in a lot of places, but like, when it's less ethereal, like the like On God and Play, like those two songs, where it gets a little bit more immediate. Like I really liked those. I liked Blink Moth, I liked Doom Bikini, I liked Peel. But yeah, I don't know, not for me, but I totally respect those people for whom it really is for them. And yeah, the stats. So this was on 5 people's ballots, 4 of whom put it in their top 10, and 1 person just barely put it out of the top 10.
There we go. All right. In that case, let's move on to our number 3. And oh boy, number 3, model actress Pierrette. This up until maybe 2 weeks ago was number 1 on my list. Yellow Nail Gun just barely knocked it out, just because I chose to write about this for the Indieheads write-up series, and I kind of realized, yeah, there's maybe a reason why I went with this over Purette. But that's not a knock on Purette, because again, it's like fucking neck and neck, and this record is really fucking fantastic. But actually, Jenna, I'm gonna let you take it away on this one.
I don't know. I mean, like, you know, you and I can maybe converse on this, but like, yeah, this is just, you know, for a long time I have described post-punk as my favorite genre. Like, it was literally in my Twitter handle for years before I left Twitter. You know, my handle was at post-punk lesbian. But yeah, so Model Actress is just like a band that realizes that post-punk and Four on the Floor grooves are two great tastes that taste great together. You know, and Cole's lyrics are just like so visceral and brutal and heartbreaking in a lot of places. He is the only man on earth who could make Delaware sound like a semi-mythical paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, you can't talk about Model Actors without talking about the live shows, which are, you know, like, they're definitely a band like Yahweh Nailgun, where you do kind of have to see them live to fully appreciate the extent of what they're doing with their art. Because, like, Cole spends about half of the show in the crowd, you know, like, making his way through the audience, you know, getting up close face to face with individual audience members and, you know, singing whole verses of the song, looking directly into their eyes, unblinking.
Yeah, I've described it before as gay emotional terrorism is what Cole does. It does live. It's really something, and I've been very lucky in the times where I've seen them. I guess I'm very glad that I've not been a target, because I'm like, I know, please, just don't make me a target. I'm too autistic for this shit, man. Please don't make me a target. I don't want to don't stare at me. I just want to watch the show. That's it. I'm vibing. I'm having a good time. Don't make me a target, please.
Maybe this is a weird comment to make, but the first time that I saw him live, he sang the whole first verse of Amaranth like 2 inches from my face, and the first thing that I thought when he got up close was, man, he smells really nice.
That's
you know
good
what
to
he
know,
does?
though.
I get it. He does seem like someone that would smell nice. I get it. Also, like, if you're gonna go into the crowd, like, I feel like you want to make sure, like, hey, you're not stinking up the joint. You know, like, you gotta. It makes sense.
You cannot be the stinky front person. You cannot do that.
No,
that's
Not yet. Not
you
yet.
are a dance punk, not a crust punk. You know, like, come on.
True.
I think the next wave of music is going to be stinky. It's going to be really stinky.
Oh no.
You know, maybe. I think, like, with the way the economy's going, we could be getting back into stinky. And honestly, with the way that people are all like, "Oh, I'm a fragrance head. I buy these perfumes and all that shit." It's like, yeah, no, we're going natural musk next. That's going to be the big thing. Is like proving how bad you smell off top.
We are going to be Ross Trent Maxing in 2026, folks.
Yes.
All right.
Excuse I.
Oh God.
But back to the record. But yeah, obviously seeing them live is definitely like a big grin. I mean, I love this band from the jump with Dog's Body, but seeing them live definitely was like a real, like, okay, yeah, this band is one of the best doing it right now. And I did re-listen to Dog's Body today because I just wanted to see how it held up compared to this record, and it definitely like helped me lock in my thoughts on Purette. Which, here's the thing, Dog's Body is a good record, great even. I really love that album. This one for me is just such a leap forward for them. It's such a level
Agreed.
up that it's nuts, and I do not understand why that is not the popular narrative of this album. Like, anyone that I don't want to be like, if you think this record is worse than Dog's Body, fucking kill yourself. Like, no, I'm not going to be like that. Come on, guys. But
maybe you should.
Maybe well, hey,
nobody would
I'm not
blame
saying
you.
it. I'm not saying it. But
I'm saying
it. But for me, it really is like nuts how much of an upgrade this is over what is already like a great record. But I mean, the things about this album that really work compared to Dog's Body, I think obviously number one is Cole. Listening to Dog's Body, I mean, not that like Cole is like has like a more like colder style delivery.
He's
On
more of a presence here.
Yes, it is. On this record, we're really seeing a much more sensitive and vulnerable side of him. I mean, just as a lyricist, I mean, there's stuff on this record that like would not be on that last album. You know, like obviously you have stuff like Cinderella. You have stuff like Diva. I'm trying to remember what the name of the spoken word track on the album is. That comes. Headlights. You would not have. I mean, there is stuff on that first record that's very like kind of slow and moody, but something like that vulnerable, I don't think would have been on any previous Model Actress record. Like that's one of the joys of this album is getting to see that new side of Cole as a front person, you know, because I believe in just the interviews and whatnot, you know, one of his things with this record is like, I just, you know, like wanting to be more of like being much more inspired by pop music and wanting to like be that pop diva, you know, that lead that's really, you know, able to like command audiences and whatnot. And here's the thing, he was already doing that, you know, he was already being like the way that he's able to command an audience, you know, on the Dog's Body tour is crazy. I mean, obviously I saw them like 3 times on that tour and it really goes into the crowd and like no one, it just completely enraptures the audience. It's nuts. And seeing them continue to improve each time I saw them, I mean, they had the best set of the final Pitchfork Music Festival in Chicago, in my opinion. Their set in 2024 was really awesome. But here, seeing like some of that start to translate more on this album of being able to be this very like commanding presence, but also being very vulnerable and very sensitive and very like real in a way that he wasn't quite on that last record is really something special. But also, I mean, and it's not just Cole. I feel like the entire band is really up their game. I mean, I think some of the guitar riffs here are really creative. Obviously, not as it's still plenty noisy, but maybe not as like pure noise rock as that last album. But I think really the big key on this record is fucking the drums on this album are fucking nuts. They're so. I've said this time and time again. Dance punk lives and dies by the drums. If you're gonna make dance punk, and those drums fucking suck, just quit. No, that you can't do it. You just that's the whole point of dance punk is the drums, and the drums on this album sound fucking incredible. And that was really another thing with comparing this record to Dog's Body that really stood out about this record is that the rhythm section on this album is really operating on a whole different level. I mean, obviously the guitar's work has always been great and it's still great in this record, but really the rhythm section here really is something to behold on this album.
Yeah, totally agreed. Yeah, the looking at my notes here, one note that I made was that the guitars on a lot of the tracks sound kind of brittle in a good way.
Yeah.
Like from the very start of the episode, not the episode, the album, just like that, those guitars that open up Vespers, just like that 16th note constant stream of like chicka 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 chicka.
Lots of staccato
yeah.
on the guitars here compared to. I mean, I think it's always kind of been a signature, but like it's definitely really apparent on this album, I would say.
Yeah. So in my song of the year ballot that I submitted, I put Diva as the song from this album that I voted for, and Maddie coerced me, definitely not under threat of violence.
What the fuck? Here's the thing. I also voted for Diva, but I'm trying to remember who voted for Cinderella, but I've gone really back and forth on what is my favorite song on this album, because I think for a long time it really was Diva, but Cinderella's really kind of won me over on it, but it really depends on the day.
I totally understand.
Can I say I also choked and was gonna put Diva and then put Cinderella?
Oh my god!
Yeah, so if you just put Diva, then I think we would have just gone with Diva. Then
that's crazy.
Damn it! But
yeah, like that line, "I'm such a fucking bitch," where he drags it out for. I timed it. It's like 7 seconds long that he drags out that word for. just instantly iconic.
God.
I also wrote that it's very hard to use the word anywho as the focal point of a chorus, but he somehow pulls it off on Departures.
God. It really is fucking nuts. Oh my God. I'm gonna kick it over to you, Tax, in just a second, but I also want to know music video of the year, Cinderella. What a fun, amazing music video Cinderella is. Just I watched that video so many times this year. It's just a real fun journey. Obviously, just being pretty literal about this. Like, hey, let's just do Cinderella, but like fun and gay, and I love that Cole is such a like incredible front person for the band. Like, really has not only just a stage presence, but just a screen presence, and then the rest of the guys, they can't really act for shit.
So cast them as the mice.
Yeah, just they're just the mice. They're just the evil stepsisters. Like, they don't gotta do a whole lot. They just gotta like just give like a mean stank face and drop ice cream on the ground. That's it. But Attacks, and I want to hear more from you on your thoughts on this album.
For sure. Yeah, this was definitely my top 10. I absolutely adore the hell out of it. Yet again, another win for crazy drums crowd, guitars that sound like synthesizers crowd. We're eating this year. It's so good. Y'all kind of touched on a lot of the things that I was going to say, so I'll try and be a little brief. But yeah, it's one, I think, particular, because we touched on, honestly, a good bit of the songs in this already, but I also want to give a good shout out to Doves. I love that one. It's kind of a, I think it's like the next to last one is, really, I love the energy in that. It reminds me, I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it reminds me of like a sexier version of the boss battle fight music for the BioLizard and Sonic Adventure 2. That's my take on Doves. I
will trust you on that. That is, that's such a specific comparison that I feel like you must know what you're talking about there.
I just was listening to that, I'm like, damn, this really sounds like, I played that game so fucking much. I mean, I know it's kind of like become a bit of a meme as I've gotten older, which is really interesting to see. I think a lot of people resonate with that game, but yeah, like that song fucking owns. And Model Actress rocks. I would love to get to see them live. I feel like basically I think, Jenna, also like you, I used to be kind of a bit more of a post-punk kind of head. I think until about, I don't know, there's just like a point where, I was like, just I moved on to like other stuff. But I feel like I feel like the only people that I kind of trust to do post-punk well at this point are like, are gay people and Proto Martyr.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's like, Model Actress is great. I love Ditz. I liked the one from this year, the Great Regression. That one's like, that's a fucking album of this decade. So good. But yeah, Model Actress, great. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously dance with the drums, but like the drums here, they just sound like it's a gay evil the Rapture is what I would describe this album as. and can I think I could hopefully I have a pass to just say that. I feel like that's accurate. I don't know. I'm an ally. I can say just it's gay evil the Rapture. But yeah, this is really a tremendous record, and one that it blows me away on every listen. Like, as soon as I heard it, it was just immediate album of the year status, and it stayed up on my list since like the beginning of this year. And the reception has been like, obviously it's a very acclaimed record, so I don't want to be like no Model Actress and be all like we are oppressed Model Actress fans. But some of the reception, it not being stronger, is a thing that really does kind of shock me, where I'm like, this record really feels like a really big upgrade, and it does feel kind of insane kind of feel like that's kind of a minority opinion a little bit. But yeah, Pierrette, tremendous record, amazing record. Any extra thoughts on Pierrette before we get to the stats?
Yeah, before we end the discussion, I do want to give a shout out. So the review for this album in Paste was written by Madeline Dawson, who also competed on Jeopardy the same week as I did.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
I mean, this could be a whole thing, but it was crazy that that week on Jeopardy, Jenna, was like a real like oomph con, because it was like it was you, it was Madeline, and then it was Will, who I forgot was a mutual of mine. I was like, wait, I'm like that person, like Will seems really familiar to me. Like, where do I know Will? And then I realized, like, oh shit, I've been following Will on Twitter like forever. I think we go back to like the Hip Hop Heads Twitter days, and I literally went to go check. I was like, did we ever like talk at all? And then I went to go check my DMs. And we were talking like 2 years ago about the Rap Forums veteran episode we did. So, so the fact that there were 3 Indieheads podcast affiliated people on Jeopardy in 1 week is really crazy. And and it's going to be more next year. Okay, it's going to be more in
it better be.
Trust.
Hell yeah.
We're all of our sleeper agents. We're hey, let's see the phrase.
Jeopardy. Is that?
Yeah, there we go. That's the phrase.
Jump Marty. All
right. You heard that phrase. Go take those Jeopardy tests and get on the damn show and talk about the Big Bopper. Talk about the Bopper. But
can't wait to hear somebody on Jeopardy say "love this one."
That is really going to be that's going to be the coded message. Is going to be like someone saying, "Oh, love this one." Like, all right, that is like, okay, we see you, we hear you.
Honestly, like Ken Jennings last week talking about getting into Berghain like already activated me in a weird way. I don't know if anybody caught that one, but like Will was telling a story about how like he could not get into Berghain because he wasn't dressed in the Berghain way. And Ken Jennings was like, oh, maybe you take some of your winnings and buy a new wardrobe to get you in. And I'm like, you have no idea what you just said. And I
love during like one of the this is an exclusive anecdote that you're only going to get on the Indieheads podcast. During one of like the sort of audience Q&A sessions that Ken did with the audience, like during the breaks in taping, he talked about how he nearly, I think, like forgot to pack enough changes of clothes when he was initially on the show, so he almost had to compete in a Fugazi t-shirt. And I was, for a second, I was like, yo, Ken Jennings has good taste. And then I realized, wait a second, Fugazi famously never made merch. So either Ken Jennings is a fake fan or he was wearing a bootleg t-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, there's a lot of fraudulent behavior being said there for so many reasons.
Oh, God. But
is Ken Jennings America's biggest poser?
I do realize now that I am gonna have to, watch how much I joke about the show, because I do want to get invited back for second chance. Jeopardy producers, if you're listening, I love Ken so much. I love all of the producers of Jeopardy so much.
We love Ken Jennings here, and we want Jenna back Jennings on the show.
We love Ken Jennings, and we love getting on Jeopardy and funding this podcast.
Mm-hmm. but Jenna, the stats on how
yes, the stats. This was on 5 people's ballots, and all of them put it in the top 10.
Boom, there we go. Consensus, smart people. Those 5 people, very smart. I wonder who they are. 3 of them are on this call. Who are the other 2? Well, I'll let them reveal their ballots whenever we post this episode, because I'm not here to snitch on anyone's ballots unless they want them out in the public. But anyways, let's move to number 2 on our album of the year list.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, see, I want to give it to Rose, but Attacks is like me.
No. Rose, go for it first. Go for it.
Rose, what's our number 2?
Bats Guts. This one, I was so shocked to see this high up. Like, I knew a lot of us liked it, but like, I did not expect number 2 album of the year. It's, oh my God, it is possibly Will's masterpiece. Will Weisenfeld is like a real auteur of a musician. Like he's been making bass records for over a decade now, and like each one just slowly gets tighter and tighter with like how he's designing sounds and sketching out the track list in weird ways. And this one is a very interesting one just because like it has been 8 years since his last LP, which truly shocks me. And B, like he decided to pivot into doing something closer to rock music on this album. Like he is primarily an electronic musician first and foremost, but like this one gets out a proper drum kit for several of the tracks and then completely just twists that up and changes the shape of things and such that it never really you can't really classify it as just plain old rock music because it does so much with the textures and sounds of that, and I really adore it for that. Like Homosexuals is one of my favorite songs of the year, and yes, I'm going to be saying the word homosexuals as clearly and enunciated as possible so people understand how much I love the song. But oh my God, yeah, this record is a lot of things. I think one of my favorite qualities about it is like it is the musical adaptation of Horny on Main.
Oh my god, yes.
Mm.
It's I think it's something about Will's persona that has never really translated into the music as much. Like he has always been like this to a degree, but it is never shown through in the music so much as just like romanticism has. But this one is just like straight up embodiment of gay angst in a way that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
This one was my number 2 of the year. It was number 1 for like the longest time, and then I just barely. But my top like 5 basically are more or less interchangeable to a degree, and this is just I've loved Will's music for so fucking long. I he's one of my, I guess, biggest influences in like music. I think what he does with his production is just so it's so organic. It's like popping and crackling and breathing, and it's just the texture is just so rich but like approachable, and he has just like with each record managed to kind of have like so many odd sounds, but like kind of really bring them into a very clearly pop context, especially in this one and Romoplasm. Are like those are just albums of just like immaculately written pop music. And it's just lyrically, it's easily his strongest too. And I mean, he's always, I think, been a standout in terms of his lyrics, like kind of compared to some of like I guess the peers that he's kind of been associated with in with the type of electronic music that he makes. Like his lyrics are just like head and shoulders above like basically anybody else. I just really love like and I feel like the lyrics he writes, he is able to deliver them in a way that I think only he can, really. Like just like the way he puts words together, it just but it feels just so natural, I think. This really very kind of like a excellent mix of like both really poetic and figurative, but also still very plain spoken and vulnerable, like in a way that just really just absolutely
Yeah,
cuts through.
the vulnerability is really something to speak for. It's just like
Hmm.
tearing yourself apart, like
Yeah,
again from the gut as it is, and just
yeah.
like really exposing your innards in a way that I think is really brave and just
Hmm.
it's oh my God. Like again,
Yeah,
to
like
refer
the
back to homosexuals again,
Yes.
I have been thinking about the chorus of that one all year. Toss a flock of lovers all my effort and see who comes to eat. Know that none of how I've loved is working. Please devour me. Might the mass of all of us digested be camaraderie? Know that none of how I've loved is working, but I guess I'm free. Like, it's...
Damn, Will Wiesenfeld into Vor?
God. But yeah, I mean, it's just and I feel like this album too, like it is like his most like openly very horny. I mean, he's not like necessarily a stranger to that. Like, I mean, you get like, tracks like No Eyes, it's just a matter of come and fuck me, it's very he's very, I think, honest and vulnerable about sexuality in a way that I think just I don't know, it's hard to find any other contemporary, I think, that is as honest as him with that. It's just like really so good. So yeah, it's obviously very horny, but I feel like this is also honestly like one of his, like, obviously, like, Obsidian is like, the reputation is like, that's the bummer album, right? But like, honestly, this one in a lot of ways is honestly like some of like it's just like got this duality of like this really just deep anxiety and kind of like longing, like you've get like just
kind
like
of like the chorus of Govern, I will die waiting, I will die governed, some crucial move I never discovered, I will be quiet, I will be othered, I will die waiting, oh, I will die governed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just heartbreaking, man.
Yeah. And then like kind of, and like the kind of ideal like fantasy life that he imagines for himself, and then like, an imagined, ideal, partner, like,
like there's that
in
like
Cedar Stairwell. That's just so
there's sort of like the duality between that track and American Mythos that follows it, where like Cedar Stairwell is, him sort of, very explicitly talking about, like he's fantasizing this sort of American dream of like a happy, acceptable gay partnership that his parents will like, and then, but that American dream sort of all comes crashing down on the following track where, being like a fucking American, as he says, is, portrayed as this, very sort of outwardly, repulsive and hateable thing, just realizing that, what one part of him wants, the other part of him realizes will destroy him.
Yeah, God, 100%. Like literally, that's exactly, well, not exactly in those words, but like just the duality between those two, like written down in my notes. Just like, God, just a absolutely great one too. And I think another just point to his craftsmanship as an artist in terms of like just in album craft is just grown.
Yeah,
and good.
Oh, and speaking of album craft, The Sound of a Blooming Flower might be one of the greatest closing tracks in history. Like, it's just like the way that it starts off, very, sort of quiet and more, intimate and subtle. And then suddenly, like the title suggests, the sound of a blooming flower, it suddenly just blooms.
Yeah.
Right? And it kicks into high gear for the chorus, and the last half is just this escalation upon escalation until he is fully screaming. Just, oh my God, it's beautiful and it's heartbreaking. And because of the time of the year that this came out and when I was listening to it a lot, I will forever associate this album with somebody that I got way too attached to way too fast, and then they ended up ghosting me, which, oof.
Fuck.
But yeah, I mean, just another layer of emotional devastation that I will forever associate with this album.
Yeah, I do want to say on the screams. This is my only thought on the record. Is the screams it's probably Sound of the Blooming Flower, very Connor Murphy-esque from Foxing. Like I heard that screams, I was like, whoa, that sounds just like Connor from Foxing. Holy shit! Getting to that like really like gutturalness was really, really something.
Yeah, like I mean, it's there from almost the very start of the album. You know, like I wrote that the precise moment when I fell in love with what this album is doing is at 1 minute and 42 seconds into the opening track, where Will screams the first syllable of patience as if he's finally lost his.
Yeah. It's such a treat getting to hear him kind of go the more like screaming route, like incorporating that more into the recording, because not the like again bringing this back, but I saw him live. I'm gonna just gonna keep talking about just good live shows, but like God, like I don't know how he does it. Like how is that sustainable?
How does anybody do it? To quote
how
the
does
album.
anybody do it? Like it's so true. God, but no, it's like God, how is it sustainable for his voice to do that? Because like he does that so much more on songs where like it's not even like it's like that's not like it's not screamed on the recording. It's like Ocean Death. Like he's just like tearing his like throat open basically, and like Superstructure from Romoplasm, which is the lyrics or the vocals on the recorded version are much I mean they're still very like it's a very confident delivery, but it's definitely much like, but he's like practically just like screaming his lungs out when he performs it live, which was God, it's such a treat. And he's like covering so like he's just grooving across the stage, like he's so
really
fast.
Is
he's so fast grooving across the stage. I love it. God, and I guess that kind of brings me to like I guess my final like another like the other main point I wanted to make about his lyrics is that like with kind of what I was getting at with like the duality, like there's a deep anxiety, but there's also so much joy, which is awesome. Like Eden is one of my favorite tracks of the year. Just it's the effervescence in the chorus, the I am for him to swim in, I'm the sweat pressed on his tits, like
hell yeah,
it's just
brother.
so much fun. Like it's
oral sex weightless on a haunted lake.
Yes, my mischief is immortal, and this is just a Saturday. God, and like and then Sea of Men with everybody's on their knees, refrain at the end.
I love the call and response on that track.
Yeah,
carnal is a normal mode.
That's that. Yes, it's just there's just so much fun too on this album. It's just like, yeah, God in heaven. I just am so thrilled to hear something like this from Will.
Yeah, I very jokingly in the chat before we started discussing these things pasted a dumb image of this album is the Dayman to Pirouette's Nightman, I would say.
Yeah.
Very very much two modes of the gay experience, and pivoted on very different modes of expression, and I appreciate that they both exist contemporary to one another.
Time will only tell if Will can finally top his true magnum opus, the I want to see my little boy Vine.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is he so funny? He can't. How does he get to do everything well? I loved his pod that he did with his brother. It's so much fun.
I was going to say they also have to top their seasonal holiday hit. You better watch out.
You better watch out.
You better watch out.
You better watch out.
Better watch out.
I feel like John Wiesenfeld on 2.0 is kind of max coded. I don't know. He just like stays saying shit, and then like Will is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then John is just like, "Yeah, like no, like this is something normal." I'm saying
John Wiesenfeld quotes.
Yeah.
God. But yeah, any other thoughts on this record? We covered the gambit. If nothing else, Jenna, the stats.
Yeah, much like Pirouette, this appeared on 5 ballots, all of which had it in the top 10. But the average placement was just that slight bit higher for this album, so that's why it gets number 2.
Boom, boom, boom. But here we are, number one. But before we get to our number one, we are going to go over our top 10 albums of the year according to our Discord/Patreon. A lot of the same records, but some different movements. And I think there are 3 records on this list that are not on our AOTY list. So according to the Discord/Patreon, Aya Hext moving down 3 spots to number 10 within our community. On number 9, up 2 spots from our ballot. I'm going to hopefully pronouncing this correctly. If not, Rose, please correct me. Los Tuthunka with Los Tuthunka, the self-titled record, coming in at number 9 according to our community. Coming in
I think it's Los Tutanaka.
Thank you. I'm white. In case you listeners,
don't know.
In case you listeners don't know, I'm white. I'm a white guy.
White?
He's white. But coming in at number 8. Coming in at number 8 and jumping 9 spots from our poll, Death Heaven with Lonely People with Power. So big jump up. Was not originally on. There was a math error I made on, and I fixed it while we were talking about Home Is Where, and that moved up. Yeah, jumped all the way to number 8, which is the biggest. Actually, I was gonna say it's the biggest jump. It is the second biggest jump into the list compared to ours. But number 7, moving down 3 spots, we got James K. Friend. Number 6, Billy Woods, Gollywog. Number 5, number 6, staying at it's same on both our lists, which is nice. Number 5, model actress Pierrette moving down 2 spots. Moving up 4 spots, Wednesday Bleeds. Then number 3, we've got Bath Guts moving down 1 spot, and coming in at number 2, Geese Getting Killed with an 11 spot jump into the top 10. So look, it's not on our list, but hey, listeners, it's on your list, and that's what matters the most. Okay, our list is one thing. Your
list isn't shit. Okay.
Hey, no. Hey, we don't.
I'm
need
just
any,
kidding. We love the fans. We love the fans.
Please support us on Patreon.com. Okay, that would be great because Adobe subscriptions are really expensive. So please keep supporting us on Patreon.com/Indieheads podcast.
Listen, pal. The only Cameron winner I want to hear about is that you're finally getting into diplomatic immunity and come home with me. That's what I want.
That's the
only
second
Cameron
mention.
winter.
That's the second mention.
I didn't say. I said Cameron.
He's like Cameron. Technically, he's clear.
Yes.
Okay.
But before we get to here's the thing. Our number 1 is your number 1, listeners. But before we get to our number 1, any thoughts on the records that made this list but did not make our list? I know there's one in particular, Rose, that, again, just missed our list by 2 points. It's our number 11.
What would that be?
Los Tutanaka.
Oh yeah, Los Tutanaka, very very solid record. A lot smarter people than me can talk about what this is really doing, but I really appreciate I appreciate this just on the level of like a kind of post-colonial idealism. It's really really smart music made by people who are much smarter than me, doing what they do best, which is creating a lot of noise in very clever ways. It's just I'm not familiar with the Chukimamari Kandori project as much as others, so this is not really my place to speak as much, but good record, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised you've not listened. I mean, have you listened to DJE?
Yeah, no, I've listened to DJE.
I
I did not like DJE at the time of release, but I think if I give it another go now, I would like it a lot more. It's just like the context of where I'm at now. I think this is a record I enjoy much more.
Yeah, I think it's one that I honestly, I think my biggest hurdle, obviously, I mean, just it's the sound, that the mix is, of course, like that's one of the things that, like, it's a record that's just straight up not mastered, or at least not
2026, don't master your albums. Mastering is for suckers and chumps.
Mastering is a scam. Tell me what mastering does right now. You have 50 words, and you can tell me, if you can tell me what mastering is in under 50 words, I'll master a record in 2026. But Until then.
And don't try to claim it's making the songs good, okay?
Yeah, because it's not.
That's the pre-production process. You should be doing that way earlier.
But I was gonna say, I think if I listen to a higher quality version of this record, because I mean, just having like the 128 Bandcamp stream is probably not the ideal way to listen to this. Like having a higher quality version, which means I would have to buy the album. Which, you know what, I'll pay. I'll pay for that garbage, even if I don't really get it. Just to feel like, okay, like I heard the version of the album that is meant to be heard, although arguably the band would maybe say, actually the way to hear it is, a super low quality rip. So who's to say? But and then Geese getting killed. Look, no one's talking about this album. No one's talking about this. Nobody has any thoughts on this album whatsoever. Especially nobody in this call has any thought. Who is Geese? What? Who? Never heard of it.
Why would I listen to jam band, right?
What?
That's right.
No.
But why would I want to listen to Geese getting killed? That's terrible. I don't want to listen to any harm to animals. Like, I'm not listening to that.
If I was interested in Geese getting killed, I would be Fabio and ride a roller coaster.
Oh, God.
I don't remember whether the goose actually died, but
I think it did. I think it did.
Oh no!
But to be serious for a second, the thing with this record is that it didn't annoy me. Which obviously Rose would disagree with me on this, and that's okay, because I understand Rose's position, because that was my exact position on the last Geese record, was hearing the hype for it amongst people on the internet, particularly your Indieheads sect or your Rate Your Music sect, and just being like, wow, this is like really annoying classic rock worship. Don't care for this whatsoever. And then this record comes out, and it's like, yep, this is elevated classic rock worship, and it's not annoying the shit out of me, which is a huge win. The fact that this record doesn't annoy me is a huge win for this band. And there is some really good songs here. I mean, I love Trinidad. I think that's a great song. Long Island City, Here I Come. That's fucking incredible song.
I really love Taxes. That did regrettably make my top 5 songs ballot for the year.
I still feel mixed on Taxes.
Me when I'm a liberal, I really love Taxes.
Even though the song is like, hey, I'm not paying the taxes.
No,
you know?
Dude,
it's kind of a libertarian anthem.
That's true. I think it's kind of killing me to hear a record that rips off like the Strokes and Radiohead being regarded as classic rock worship, but I'll
I mean, it's very indebted to like the Stones and stuff
for their target audience. Sure. Like the yes. Strokes' first albums came out before they were born, so for them it is classic rock.
No, I'm with you. I get it. Cool. It's just like coming to grips with that as a person where I'm like, yeah, they sure are rocking with things that happened before 9/11. Like, I don't know, man. This record's fine. Like, it's not, I don't know. I'm not sweating it the way that people really are, but like, hey, it is what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
The only thing I really wanted to say was Lonely People with Power was my memory hole of the year.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, I literally forgot. I would have forgot to mention that.
That was even on the list. That jumped like, 9 spots.
9 spots.
Like listen. I like Deaf Heaven. Big Deaf Heaven fan. Welcome back to making a metal record, Deaf Heaven. Thanks for doing that. But could not just did not even remember that this came out until it showed up on this list right now. It's a fine record, but where the Agriculture record is 9 tracks of just going, oh my god, you're allowed to do that. The Deaf Heaven record is an hour of going, oh thank god they remembered how to do that. That Infinite Granite is like one of the worst missteps I've ever heard a band make, but have fun there.
Don't say that anywhere near AJ Moser, okay?
I will say it in front of AJ Moser. I will tell AJ Moser. That was a terrible record.
I didn't bristle against that one as much as you or other people did. I definitely think it was a misstep for them, but I feel like after they made this one, like my take on Infinite Granite at the time was, if they don't, like, you know, I don't know, go back to like what their strengths are after this, and like they just kind of make kind of piddly shit like this from here on out, like if like this is, it's fine as a diversion, but as like a step in any direction, it's not great. And
we were all doing things that didn't really suit us in 2021. We were all like doing a lot of things that, you know, we were trying to find new things that we got into, and I think that's okay. I don't begrudge you for it.
Yeah,
but I think it. Come on.
Yeah, there were like a couple of tracks on it that I still do really like, but yeah, I mean, like it's definitely a direction that I don't think they really needed to pursue anymore. And this album, like Lonely People with Power, I did end up kind of reappraising it after seeing them live this year. I really liked seeing I do definitely agree with you that I think it's a lot longer, and compared to Agriculture, who just thoroughly like wiped the floor with literally every other metal album this year, in my opinion. Like, you know, it definitely, I think at times it kind of overstays its welcome, but there's great tracks on it, and they're still such an amazing live band. You know, Doberman's great, you know, like that's just a fucking solid ass song. I think I really on it, like it's the A side for me is, you know, really great, but then like I kind of start to lose patience in the back half. But, you know, it's glad they made another metal album again.
Yeah. Well, in that case, our number one album of the year, and not only our number one, your number one album of the year. Well, people who pay for this podcast and in our Discord. Otherwise, you know, you want to have a voice, $1 a month. $1 equals one voice, and our record doesn't really have that many voices on it, because our number one album of the year is the new One O Tricks Point Never record, Tranquilizer, coming in at number one by, I would say, a pretty good margin. Like, it was number one, looking at the numbers, like by far. Let's see, like is
it all right if I go into the stats right away, because
go for it.
The disparity here between, you know, OPN and you know, the albums in second and third and fourth place, etc. So all of the previous albums, you know, they had appeared on at maximum 5 ballots. This one appeared on 7 ballots, 2 of which put it as their number one.
Yeah, wow. And understandably so, because this record is great. It is, I mean, it's kind of been described as a return to form of sorts for OPN after, you know, a couple of odder turns in his career post R+7, I would say. And I've liked a lot of stuff he's put out since R+7, of course. I mean, obviously Guard and Delete is very well regarded within, you know, just the general, within the podcast and the community. And I think for some folks, I think really it's more like Age of sort of begins this sort of odd period in his career where I think some of those records are great. I think like Age of is great. I think Magic 100 Tricks Never is great. But I do think, again, kind of lost some folks a bit of, all right, we're maybe getting a little too granular, getting a little too lost in the weeds. And this record is great because it is simultaneously this return to form. It's very much in line with, in terms of just the sound of the record, very in line with Replica, very in line with R+7, but feels like kind of coming at the ideas and sounds of those albums from a much more mature place and a much more experienced place. Because obviously in, you know, the 10 plus years since, you know, R+7, he's fucking composed he's done a bunch of composing work. He's been collabing with, I mean, obviously became a very big collaborator with The Weeknd, you know, over the last like 5 or 6 years. And that's definitely heard the most, I mean, in terms of The Weeknd stuff, obviously heard most on Magic 100 Tricks Ever, which is the most explicit like pop music album he has ever made and maybe will ever make under the name. But being able to take like all these things that have happened to him over the last decade or so and really come back to what he's really really good at, like being able to take these sample CDs and using like these little bits and pieces and able to make something so unique and whole with these little ideas, these little bits, is really something special. But I am, I'm a big OPN fan, but I don't know the language of electronic music as much as some of y'all. And I'm going to go to Ataxin just because Ataxin has crazy synth rigs and knows like at least has an idea of how Dan achieves the sounds on this record. So Ataxin, I'm curious on your thoughts on Tranquilizer.
Yeah, I mean, like this one's really interesting. I had been kind of reading a lot of the interviews that he's been doing leading up to this, where he kind of talks about, how, like, what went into making this album. And, he had said that this is kind of like a little bit more of a like process oriented album is like, what he had said about it. Whereas like, the last several have been like, very concept based. And I think he's always been a very conceptual artist. And I mean, I think you kind of have to be to like, like in ambient music, to really, I don't I think all the best ambient, music has like a point of view. Like you kind of have to have a point of view, or risk kind of like, falling into just like the endless like morass of just like, vibe shit, slop, whatever, So he's always kind of had like a point of view with his music. But this one was definitely more focused on just kind of the process of like creating, from my understanding, like, like a big portion of it was, based off of like, I believe like these sample CDs that he had like gotten from the Internet Archive. And it's just like, these like really just kind of like all this like sound font kind of stuff. And, it was like really kind of like a matter of like collage. It's really kind of bringing it back to, like the replica era stuff, where, like that one was kind of built off of like, all these like, samples and loops that he'd pulled from like, old commercials and shit. Right. So, and this is, kind of bringing it back to that kind of form. But yeah, like you said, like, he's been stacking W's for like, just like the greater part of like a decade now, and just like really honing his toolkit, and you could just like really hear that. And I think that's, just so fantastic.
Lots of W's, but there is one L in the last decade. One L he has taken in the last decade, which he has dropped. So it's a stain. It's not a wound, but it is a stain. And listeners, if you are as online as us, you already know what that L is. But it is it has something to do with one of our competitors in the podcast space, and the money.
Would you say it's kind of a red stain?
I'd like to go ahead and give some descriptions of what I think this record sounds like to really get this. This shit sounds like mixing Pepsi and Sprite at the soda fountain and pouring just a little bit in your computer because computers deserve sustenance too. This shit sounds like Bubsy at the James Turrell retrospective. This shit sounds like choosing a screensaver. This shit sounds like baby sensory videos for guys who wear Arc'teryx jackets.
Oh.
Fuck you.
Okay, that's all I got.
God.
Yeah.
But
this
yeah, it's
what
just,
can you say? What can you say about Danny Lopatin, baby?
For sure. It's I feel like I guess to get like, I guess maybe a little personal to me, I guess like what, kind of the ethos of this record is, that I feel like it really, and like his stuff in general just really resonates with me. I mean, over the past few, like, I don't know, maybe at like 4 years at this point, I probably had been annoying everybody in the Discord by trying to force my own joke into reality about every November rolls around. All I do is only listen to One O Tricks Point Never, and I keep telling everybody happy One O Tricks Point November, everybody. I just I really love his music, but over the past couple of years, like, I don't know, I had a rough couple of years, just brain wise, and it kind of forced me to just kind of like, I don't know, take a little bit of, more control over like what I wanted to be doing with my time, just like refocusing in general. And like, over the past like couple of years, I've like started like, building like my own digital collections and, physical media collections. I've like, collecting like weird, specifically like, weird VHS shit, like, I don't know, cartoons I've never heard of that are from like, like dubbed anime that I've never ever seen before, just kind of like building some sort of a collection, almost like, it feels like, I mean, I'm sure some of it's like, not unique or anything. I don't have any illusions that I'm like, archiving lost media or anything, but it feels like gathering something that's important to me that I think is really interesting, and like, like saving and like doing something with it and like kind of curating. And I think that's, something that like is a huge strength of Danny's, is just, his sense of curation. And I think, with kind of how like the process of making this album, I think, yeah, and I think going back to like, I guess my point about like ambient music needing to have like, I feel like it's best when it has a point of view. I just feel like there's just so much like, content on, the internet that it's just like, I think, with him approaching this album from like a perspective of like some sort of like rescuing some of the digital refuse from like, that you just find on the internet and like curating it into something really fucking cool. I just feel like there's just so much like just stuff out there. It's just like vibe slop, and like, there's just kind of like this careless attitude to, the infinite potential of like, what you can find on the internet, right? It just like, I that I think his point of view of like trying to I just think it's a really cool, statement and point of view to have. So I had it written down better in my notes, but
no, I think I definitely posted the archive that like he talks about for the sample CDs, because I've had that bookmarked for a long time for some reason. I think like somebody just posted it probably during quarantine, and like it definitely got passed around the internet like pretty far and wide. So it's not like something secret, but
right, exactly.
There's like 500 gigs of sample CDs from the 90s that are used to program samplers themselves. Used to like, you used to be able to go buy these sample CDs and like get a new drum that you didn't have previously. Just like you said, we have the internet as this untapped well of things that have existed forever, and these are things that are slowly going away. And I think that like on Replica, there's this understanding that like things are not as they once were, and that he is recreating things from the ashes of bygone artifacts, whereas the like this record is almost dealing with the unexpected reality that these things that we once thought were permanent and have, no reason to really get rid of, are becoming impermanent, are becoming temporary in ways that like we never anticipated. And so, I mean, I think this record's just like fucking fantastic from that point of view, in terms of like, he's continuing on this road the same way that he did with Replica and with certain things that he's done in the past. And it's just been like, damn, the point of view on this is like an enduring one, so to speak. And like you said, it is more interesting when somebody in ambient and in this line of work is doing something with like a very defined point of view about the media that they're using.
Yeah, and the thing too is it's just pretty. It's such a gorgeous album, like, and he does kind of like, revisit themes from like Replica and Rifts and Returnal and shit, but like, there's just so much new stuff. Life World is a fucking wild track. It sounds like I don't know, it sounds like a parade marching through like the CGI rendered museum that they had in like the DK Eyewitness videos. Y'all ever watch that shit? No? God, it looks like, a fucking, CGI museum full like a, I don't know, jungle animals and dolphins and, I don't know, it's very, I don't know, I guess they call it like Frutiger era or what the fuck ever. But God, like it's just such a joyous, I think like again, to me felt like a really dour album. I don't know, it was just very, it felt to me kind of like deeply sad. Whereas like this one feels a lot more, kind of celebratory in some sense. Like, I mean, there's like this kind of sense of like, like digital content as endangered species, sure, but like there's also like, just like, listen to this. Doesn't this sound fucking cool? And it's just man, it's just so pretty. And like he brings back in more of like, the really gorgeous, like lush, like, synths that you hear kind of like on its early stuff, but then also in his score stuff, like, like the shit that he did for Uncut Gems, those kind of like, bubbly, arpeggios and stuff that just kind of fade in and out through, it's just, man, it's just so pretty.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Tranquilizer?
I will add my thoughts. All I will say is this, and imagine that I am saying it with the vibes of that Steve Albini quote about roast beef. For approximately the runtime of Tranquilizer by One O Tricks Point Never, I can listen to 45 Pounds by Yahweh Nailgun 3 times in a row, which I will enjoy much more.
I won't argue too hard with that. I did place Yahweh Nailgun higher than One O Tricks Point Never. And that's the thing, is like, this isn't even my favorite One O Tricks Point Never album by a significant margin. I'd probably give that to Garden of Delete. Mutant Standard is one of my favorite my favorite song of his ever. I love to play that in the kitchen when I'm like, I don't know, making coffee and like flail around until I'm dizzy. And it's, it's just great. But like, I feel like this is at least just kind of like, I don't know, it feels like him at the top of his game in a lot of ways. And, I think, it's just cool to see kind of like that broad support for him.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this record is just, it's a nice, I mean, it's not like, oh, this is a big comeback for Danny. It's like he had one record that was like kind of a toughie compared to the previous works of his discography, but it is nice to hear him back in this mode and like being able to really get his flowers of like, damn, this guy has been one of the great electronic musicians of the 21st century so far, and to like have this, this record that feels like a real culmination of everything he's done, before is really nice. And obviously just like nice little peeks of like what we might get after, like what is the potential for the next, Danny record after this. And it really could be anything, because he is one of our greats for many reasons, but one is that he is so unpredictable. It really isn't clear what he might do after this, aside, well, we know what he's doing after this. We get the Marty Supreme soundtrack coming out, but within the OPN name, it's like, okay, we maybe have a general idea of what an OPN record is going to sound like, but we don't really know for sure what that is until we actually get to hear the damn thing, because his influences and the way that his muse sort of the way that his pen goes is very different from album to album. And but it is nice to hear him back in this mode and able to kind of have a bit of a victory lap, as we just obviously we it's been almost 15 years since Replica, and more than 10, a dozen since R+7. So, and obviously 10 years since Guardian of Delete, which that had like just turned 10, like right before this album came out towards the end of November of last year. But yeah, I'm going to leave a little thing here in case someone sends a voice note, and hopefully someone did. If they did, well, hey, you had a slight awkward pause there, as maybe got a chance to take that 1 second to reflect on not only our number one album of 2025, but your number one album of 2025 within the Indieheads podcast community. But unless we had any final thoughts on Tranquilizer, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, just real quick, wanted to say Yahweh Nailgun sounds like the name of a tertiary character in One Battle After Another.
All right, that's a fucking good ass way to end this pod. Thank you all for listening. We're probably going to split this episode up into 2 parts because it is over 3 hours as of right now. So we'll probably split this up into 2 parts. So thank you for listening to both parts. Hopefully, unless you were a little greedy motherfucker, you just wanted the top 5. Which, hey, there's 5 great records before that. You should have been listening to all the episodes here. But yeah, that'll do it for us. We've got one more episode for y'all this year, as we have episode 2 of the Lonely Island Discog Breakdown, as Jackie and I are going to be covering Turtleneck in Chains. So you've got that to look forward to next week. But of course, this second part is probably going to come out pretty much right around the holidays. So I think like it'll probably be out. We might release it a little bit early, just so it's not coming out like on Christmas or Christmas Eve. But whatever the case, happy holidays, listeners. Happy holidays, as we are by the time this is out, we'll be fully into the season. So happy holidays, Indieheads podcast listeners. Hopefully you had a good 2025. Statistically, that is not likely, but we hope, and hopefully here's to a hopefully better 2026. But thank you all for listening. We will see you next week for more Lonely Island Discog Breakdown. Otherwise, see you next time. Bye-bye.